that's pretty much an easy answer. I'd probably give Valentino 5 out of 10. Obviously because he was switching teams, but for obviously his charisma, his charm, his his never quit attitude, I'd give him a 10. Oh, quite a few actually, but it was mainly from when he was coming up from sort of like the lower half of the grid, where he just really had some shocking qualifying sessions. He was qualifying 14th, 15th, 16th, but managed in the first sort of like 8 to 10 laps before the tyres went off, to get himself up into the top 10 and stayed there quite handsomely. And obviously in the wet he was a demon as well. So that was really all I can say about that, to be honest. Well, there was only one real low point, which affected everyone, not just Valentino. Obviously, it was the loss of Marco at Sepang, and obviously Valentino was involved in the accident, and he was very close to tears. And you could see it obviously when he was speaking to the Brivio brothers, who were part of his team at Ducati, visibly shaken. And you knew that something was wrong from the minute that Valentino sat up on his Desmo Sedici and took his hand off the throttle. So I mean that was the only real sort of low point as such. I mean everything else just was eclipsed by that one particular moment in Sepang when these unfortunate things happen. Their efforts on the track. When a new engineering team and a new rider goes into a completely different environment, you're going to say that it's going to affect their efforts. Yeah, definitely for sure, because they're still acclimatising to a new team, new environment, and new methods of working. Obviously, when they were with Yamaha, it was a very Japanese sort of thing, whereas Italy it's quite passionate, and obviously the Tifosi love, the Ducatis, so it was going to hinder Valentino in his first season, because he'd have to get used to the bike, and it clearly showed in this, in the first season. So can't really say any more than that. Well, in all honesty, I felt that the team did the best they could in developing the bike, and obviously it's new territory when you're going from one platform to another, from one manufacturer to another. So I think really Jerry Burgess and his team did the best that they could considering the circumstances, and so obviously they had to find the tolerances of obviously how the bike was going to react to certain changes. Obviously having this chassis change, which penalised Valentino quite heavily in one particular race as well. So I think it was just really a trial and error year. But I think that the team did the best they could to accommodate obviously Vali's needs, and obviously how he rides his bikes, and that was clear to see from the get-go. Well, already in testing, it's as per one of the images that the viewers kindly put up with regards to obviously Valentino giving the OK signal, is just to say I love the bike. Being only 8/10 off the pace is a good sign that Ducati have really sort of come back refreshed and revitalised, obviously with the input from Valentino in the off season, which they didn't really have that much of an opportunity. They've had a year to grow and develop as a team. So I feel that there could be an outside chance that Valentino could be competitive again, as long as as long as it all works out fine. Then I think Valentino's got an outside chance at an 8th title. How do I think they can develop the bike? Just doing as much as they can, and they're a great team as well. Obviously with Casey winning the last Riders' Championship for Ducati in 2007. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. I wouldn't say there's just one moment. I'd probably say there's two that stick out specifically in my mind. Obviously, the first one is seeing Valentino get on the Ducati Desmosedici for the very first time at testing, and that was really, really nice to see him get on the GP11 and, you know, sort of try and see how he was going to get on with the Big Bang, you know, engines. That was the main highlights of the year for me. But I think second to that would be the really good battle between Ben Spies and Casey Stoner, which I remember happened near to the tail end of the season. I think it was Valencia, to be honest with you, where Casey pipped Ben by a matter of, you know, probably not even, you know, scraping the barrel when it came to tenths of a second. And that was really, really good. You know, it was a battle right to the line. I mean, obviously Casey had a few moments with the RC212V, and obviously Ben was able to capitalise with the MSV R1, and obviously it just came down to the wire, and Casey just had the strength with the, you know, the performance on, you know, the torque that engine on that Honda was just fantastic, and it was just such a shame to not see Ben secure another win, to be honest with you. I think the introduction of CRTs is a welcome change in some respects. It's probably not the best formula to ensure closer racing between the prototypes from the manufacturers and you know, the claiming rule teams. I don't think they'll have an advantage as of such. They'll probably challenge, as has been shown with Randy Depunier in the recent private test at Jerez, where he was only 0.3 of a second behind the satellite Ducati being ridden by Pramac Hector Barbera. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing, because it's going to help teams that haven't got the budget and the manufacturers to come in and get new, fresh talent into MotoGP, and, you know, have an extended grid, because obviously last season was only 17, 18 riders, and they need to extend it, otherwise MotoGP will just die out. Advantages, we'll have to wait and see, obviously, with the developments. That's all I'm going to say on that, because we haven't seen them in a race situation yet, and we won't do for another 4 weeks or so. So it's just early days. Yes, in all honesty, I do think that cutting costs is paramount to help the sport sort of grow in size, and obviously having a more eclectic mix of riders, you know, so at least teams who don't have the budget of, like, say, Ducati, Honda, will find it difficult to compete, but if they're given an opportunity, then I'm sure that they'll grab it with both hands and get in there. Whether all teams will adjust, I think that's really up to a discussion between Dorna and the teams who do run the prototypes. So I think it's just a case that it needs to be reviewed correctly by, you know, the teams, the riders, Dorna as well, and hopefully they can come to an agreement if they have to invoke a resource restriction on the teams and the manufacturer teams, so at least they're not having so much of an advantage with regards to the claiming rule teams. So obviously it should hopefully make for closer racing and also a better spectacle for people to go and see. So fingers crossed.